Well, my name is Doug Amar. I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Justice Project, and we are in our offices here at 438 Edgewood Avenue. We are directly behind King's grave. One of the first things you should know about where you are, or where we are, is that we are physically directly behind the the grave of Dr. King, on the same block as the King Center, on the same block as the historic Ebenezer Church where he and his father and grandfather preached. We're also half a block away from where he was born. And as you stand at King's grave, you see the top of our building, which is sort of an apex of an old gas station garage. And I like to tell people that we're lined up for justice in doing this work here. It's a powerful place to be. It's sacred ground being here in what some folks call the King District or the 4th Ward. Our organization, I should say, has been on this block for 23 years. This is our 25th anniversary as an organization. We were founded a little bit over 25 years ago. We were founded by a corporate lawyer. His name was John Pickens, and he was a former King and Spalding litigator. And out of his church, he went to Central Presbyterian downtown. He got more involved with homeless people, poor people in the late 70s and early 80s, and people would ask him, finding out he was a lawyer, to go to court with them and for them. And he saw what happened in court for people was not what he was doing as a corporate litigator every day. And what he especially saw, if you had a criminal case, a lot of folks got dealt with very quickly and summarily. The people had a sense of being railroaded often in the system. And win or lose, what he saw is that people went often right back to the same lifestyle. So the idea of if they got out of jail that day or went to prison and then got out of jail, the recidivism rate was very high, and still is. It's about 76–75% around the country. And so his vision was to break both the cycle of recidivism, helping people to not end up back in the system, but also helping people to get a sense of fairness and justice, somebody fighting for them. And that what he wanted to do was bring the sense of a lawyer that cared and was committed to their case. So win or lose, they would leave the system and leave that encounter feeling empowered. And so in many ways, that's one of our slogans. We say that Georgia Justice Project represents poor people accused of crime, and win or lose, we stand with our clients as they rebuild their lives. And that's really the hub of what we're about. Our core competency, if you will, as an organization, and why folks ring our doorbell all the time, is that we are free lawyers for people who can't afford a lawyer. And so our work is divided into 2 buckets, if you will. The first bucket is criminal, in that we represent people who are facing a criminal charge, but unlike the public defender, and unlike a court-appointed lawyer, we do 2 things that are different from, say, a public defender. One is that we stay with our clients long term. So if our folks go to prison, we visit them in prison, take the families to visit them in prison, stay with the families, work with the families while the clients are in prison, and then help folks when they get out of prison. So the first piece that makes us different is sort of this long-term relationship that we have that starts with the attorney-client relationship. So in other words, we don't see the arrest as an end, we see an arrest of somebody as a beginning, a chance for someone to change their lives. And the second thing that makes us different, say from the regular system, if you will, is that we have social workers on staff so that we pick and choose our clients. We don't take court appointments and we don't take government funds. So all what we do comes from the community. And what we're trying to do is to identify people who really want to change their lives. People who, this might be their first time getting in trouble, it might be their 5th time getting in trouble, but our social workers screen for, is this a person who's in a place that having the right intervention, having a lawyer who's going to fight for them, having a social worker who really cares about them and can create the structures and supports, that person stands a good chance of not ending up back in trouble again. So that's what we call our criminal work. That's our core work. That's the thing we've been doing for 25 years, and using legal work, if you will, as a chance to really intervene ourselves, intervene in somebody's life, but really with the hope that person doesn't end up back in trouble. And so it's this long-term, holistic approach to representing people in the criminal justice system. So that's what we call that's the criminal work we do. And the second part of what we do that's come out of that over the last really 7 or 8 years, and it's gotten well off the ground, and maybe some folks at their church know about this, but as we call it coming home, and it's civil work, but it's all related to somebody having a criminal record. So basically our doorbell rings a lot, and people come to our door and say, I didn't get a job, I didn't get housing because of my criminal record, can you help me? And so we pull their records, a lawyer will talk to them, and we basically assess whether we can take things off the record, change the record, fix the record, or help them get that opportunity in spite of the record. Since we get to choose what we do and how we do it, and since we don't take court appointments, when it comes to our criminal work, we decided that there's 2 criteria we mainly look at. The first criteria is, can we make a difference legally? And the second criteria is, can we make a difference personally? So the legal side is, if we do say no to people whose cases are sort of open and shut, and we feel like having a free lawyer, a lawyer who is untethered in their time, they could focus an hour or 100 hours, whatever justice would require, that the best use of that resource is somebody who either might be innocent or someone who maybe has a complicated case that wouldn't get looked at appropriately by the overwhelmed public defense system. So we are interested in sort of guilt or innocence, but it's not the sole criteria. We take a lot of guilty people as clients, and that's really where our second tier comes in, and that is, can we make a difference personally? Regardless of guilt or innocence, is this person in a place that they're able and willing to change their lives? Our social workers use the term, are they change ready? And so there we're looking for, whether it's their fifth arrest or the 15th or their first, guilty or innocent, is this somebody who, with our help and support, stands a good chance of not being back in trouble again? Because when you have a criminal record, when you've been in jail or prison, it's very hard to get a job, especially if you've been convicted, much less just accused of something. So if you're working with this population, jobs is always a big deal. One of the things we're able to do, with some grants to a couple of our funders, is we have, I call it the Job Bot 2000, but it's basically this, we just got started this week. We've been researching it for a while and are sort of putting a whole program around really helping people with criminal records to find jobs. So this is sort of this LinkedIn computer that keeps your resume. You can actually apply on jobs right here with very little help. It's not, in other words, it doesn't require a lot of technical support for an individual to interface with this. You can get on here and find jobs in different areas of the city and different types of jobs. And so jobs is a big deal when it comes to helping people not end up back in trouble. And again, our work is really tethered around the idea of having an attorney-client relationship. And what we're really trying to do is sort of explode that attorney-client relationship into deeper levels of support and commitment, both from the attorney to the client and the client to the attorney. So our work is really grounded in representing people. And out of that, we do all these other pieces of work. So in that sense, it's not just here's a service, there's a service. It's here's a lawyer with this whole sort of long-term wraparound approach, if you will, that so support like this or devices like these are sort of embedded in our sort of overall approach.